And moving on, Union Cabinet chaired by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi approved 8 important national high-speed road corridor projects of length 936 kilometers at a total cost of over 50,000 crore rupees or around 6.25 billion US dollars to improve logistics efficiency, reduce congestion and enhance connectivity across the country.
आज बहुत बड़ा एक फैसला हुआ है। पूरे देश में 8 बड़े नेशनल हाईवे के प्रोजेक्ट्स जो कि एक्सेस कंट्रोल्ड एक्सप्रेस वेज हैं, आज कैबिनेट कमेटी ऑन इकोनॉमिक अफेयर्स ने प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की अध्यक्षता में अप्रूव किए हैं। ये प्रोजेक्ट्स 935 किलोमीटर की टोटल लेंथ के हैं और इसमें 50,000 करोड़ रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा। 50,000 करोड़ रुपीस का इसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा।
And some updates on Wayanad landslides now. Official death toll touches 215 as search operations progress in the landslide affected areas. 143 body parts were also recovered, which are yet to be added into the death toll figures. Meanwhile, search operations on Friday have resumed by 7 in the morning. More radar equipment and operators are being brought to the rescue area by Indian Army at the request of Kerala government. Immediate survivors of the tragedy are staying in 7 camps, which houses almost 2,600 people. Across the district, 91 relief camps have been opened where around 10,000 people are staying. At the same time, rescue operations have moved into next stage, deploying more manpower, machinery and sophisticated sensors to locate those trapped in the soil and debris. We are seeing the visuals of Wayanad, where official death toll has touched almost 215 as search operations progress in the landslide affected areas. And we have Sunit Sukumaran joining us from South India's Wayanad for more information. Well, Sunit, what is the current update? How is the situation there right now? How is the relief operation going on?
As this search and rescue operation entering the 5th day, it is becoming more broader and more wider based on the inputs from the people, local people. Now in the 5th day, now the rescue operation is more systematic and more, more focus oriented. The main focus of this rescue operation that is currently underway is to recover maximum bodies from these debris. It is almost certain that there is no one is alive to be saved from under this debris. So their main focus is to recover maximum bodies from this debris as early as possible, because the weather is challenging and this terrain is really challenging. So and also this is a 5th day, so they are trying to recover maximum dead bodies from these areas. So there is more than 1,300 people rescue operation team is functional right now, and they are divided into 40 teams and searching in 6 different zones. These are the main zones. The zone where I'm standing right now is Churalmal town. This is the place where the landslide hit very badly. So most of the search operations are focusing on this area. And as you can see in the visuals, many Hitachis, JCBs and earth-moving machineries are arriving here, and they are digging the land and then trying to recover the dead bodies, more and more dead bodies.
All right. And what are the authorities there doing to help the relief victims? The relief camps have been opened. How is the situation there?
The relief camps are already set up, and almost all the people who were saved from these areas, especially this Mundakai and this Churalmala town area where the landslide hit very worse. So they are already been moved to the various relief camps, and the government is assuring all the possible facilities and all the possible options to help them and to rebuild their life and also their rehabilitation. All these processes are going smoothly on the other hand. And meantime, the government, informed that they are considering their privacy and to control other people entering these relief camps and all. So, and also they are providing better facilities, and on the other hand, they are focusing on the rehabilitation process also.
All right. Also, Sunit, more radar equipment and operators are being brought to the rescue area by the Indian Army. How is all this helping in the rescue operation?
Well, the main thing that really helped this rescue operation is the Bailey Bridge that was constructed by the Army. And, Army is the first military personnel who arrived in the spot after the police, and they immediately started the rescue operation, which really helped the things to go a bit faster, because till that time, Army arrived, like all the rescue operations were in a confused state because there was a bridge nearby, but that was completely collapsed during the time of this landslide, and there was no access to connect these two different places. So, when the Army built this Bailey Bridge, the connectivity became more smoother, and that really boosted the rescue operation. And now they are bringing all their machineries, all their medical equipments, all their medical services, and the other services to boost this rescue and search operation. And now, if you're looking into this search operation team, the Army plays a major role.
All right. Thank you so much, Sunit, for all that information and update from Wayanad. And moving on, the situation in the Indian state of Jharkhand is worsening due to continuous rain. Flood-like situation has arisen at many places. Incessant rain led to a surge in water levels of Harmu and Swarnarekha rivers. NDRF teams have been deployed for rescue operations as rainwater has entered more than 100 houses in Kadru, Hindpiri and Deepatoli areas of Ranchi. The Weather Department has issued a yellow alert for very heavy rainfall and thunderstorms on Saturday for 7 districts of Jharkhand. Following the alert, the state government asked all deputy commissioners to take precautions and have closed all schools up to class 12th. Meanwhile, the 21 Indian fishermen whose release was secured by the Indian High Commission in Colombo arrived at Chennai Airport in the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu on Saturday morning. On Thursday, the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka and the Consulate General in Jaffna secured the release of 20 fishermen from Sri Lanka. The Indian Consul General Sai Murli ascertained the well-being of the fishermen. He also assured them of all possible support. The consulate officials also facilitated phone calls to their families in India to ensure their welfare. The matter pertains to a collision between a Sri Lankan naval vessel and an Indian fishing boat 5 nautical miles north of Kachaktivu Island on Thursday. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. The Adi Thuru Kalyanam celebrations commenced with the hoisting of the holy flag at the famous Sri Ramanatha Swami temple. The highlight of the festival is the marriage between Lord Ramanatha Swami and goddess Parvata Vardhani Ammal. This festival draws hundreds of devotees from across the world. The entire festival lasts for 17 days. The 3-day-long theatre festival, Pagaha, organized by WOMAID, is concluded with a good response from the audience at Tagore Hall in Srinagar. The festival showed outstanding performances that captivated viewers and set the stage for a week-long celebration of Kashmiri theatre, particularly folk theatre and its rich cultural history. And Lieutenant General VPS Kaushik has assumed the appointment of the Adjutant General of the Indian Army. Prior to assuming the key appointment, VPS Kaushik was serving as the General Officer commanding in the Trishakti Corps. And coming up, Pentagon Lloyd's Austin revokes plea deal with 9/11 suspects. U.S. to send more warships, fighter jets to Middle East to bolster defenses amid Iranian threats. And amid demands for better governance, protests turned violent in Nigeria. 3 states have declared a 24-hour curfew to curb further violence.
Why has India been targeted persistently with negative and hostile coverage in the Western media? Why are Western media so hell-bent on trying to prevent and block India's rise as a major power? What can be done to fight back, and how can we establish a different information order in the world?
They condemn us, criticize us, our elections, our system, anything to do with India. Who are you to dictate and tell me if a person is elected, it's autocratic?
Or it's a threat to democracy?
Threat to democracy.
Yeah.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and moving on, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has secured enough support to officially become the Democratic Party's presidential nominee. It makes Harris the first black woman and first Indian American to lead a major party into a general election. Nick Harper sends this report from Washington.
This virtual roll call was a chance for delegates who'd previously been pledged to Joe Biden to show their support to Kamala Harris, the new candidate for the Democratic Party, of course, since Joe Biden dropped out less than 2 weeks ago, saying he was not seeking re-election. This virtual roll call began on Thursday morning. It was meant to run all the way until Monday evening, and yet by the middle of Friday afternoon, it was clear that Harris had already secured enough support to officially become the nominee for the Democratic Party. A very quick period of time, much quicker than expected. The Democratic Party chairperson saying about that it was simply outstanding. Harris herself says that she is honoured to become the nominee for the President of the United States. Now, normally this would happen in person at the National Convention, a 4-day event that's taking place in Chicago in a few weeks' time, but the Democrats decided to hold this early and to do it in a virtual way. There were no challengers to Ms. Harris, so it was really considered inevitable that she would become a nominee, but of course fascinating that she did so quickly, and I think that perhaps shows the enthusiasm we've seen in the party since she said that she would be taking up that possibility of becoming the nominee after Joe Biden dropped out. She also makes history by becoming the nominee for the Democratic Party, becoming the first female of colour to top a ticket, but also the first Indian American to top a ticket as well. She could make history as well when we get to November the 5th, when the election takes place. She could become the first female president if she wins that election. All of this off the back of an incredible fundraising haul that she managed to bring in during the course of July, getting $310 million. That sets a record for grassroots funding in presidential history. It's also double the amount that her rival, Donald Trump, managed to pull in from supporters during the same month. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
And after her nomination, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris posted on X and said that I'm honored to be the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. I'll officially accept the nomination next week. This campaign is about people coming together, fueled by love of country, to fight for the best of who we are. And U.S. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump has agreed with Fox News to a debate with Democratic U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris on September 4th. Trump, in a post on social media platform Truth Social, has informed. On the post, Trump said, and as I quote, "If for any reason Kamala is unwilling or unable to debate on that date, I have agreed with Fox to do a major town hall on the same September 4th evening," unquote. And U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has revoked a plea deal that was agreed upon earlier this week with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the man accused of masterminding the 9/11 attacks, and two of his accomplices, according to a memorandum signed by Austin on Friday. The Pentagon had said on Wednesday the plea deals had been entered into but did not elaborate on details. A U.S. official said they almost certainly involved guilty pleas in exchange for taking the death penalty off the table. In a latest, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has removed the official who facilitated the plea deal for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, saying the responsibility for the decision should rest with him given its significance. The deal would have removed the possibility of the death penalty. And the U.S. military to deploy additional fighter jets and Navy warships to the Middle East as Washington seeks to bolster defenses following threats from Iran and its allies, Hamas and Hezbollah. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had approved sending additional Navy cruisers and destroyers to the Middle East and Europe. The authorities have also confirmed to send additional squadron of fighter jets to the Middle East. The U.S. is bracing for Iran to make a good on its vow to respond to the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh 2 days ago in Tehran. And U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has informed Israel about current and future changes to U.S. forces in the Middle East. Pentagon spokesperson Sabina Singh told reporters after a call between United States Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and the Israel Defense Minister Yoav Gallant that the move could include deploying additional forces to the region.
Secretary Austin spoke with Israeli Minister of Defense Gallant this morning about the destabilizing threats posed by Iran, its partners, and proxies. The secretary reiterated ironclad support for Israel's security and informed the minister of additional measures to include ongoing and future defensive force posture changes that the department will take to support the defense of Israel. Secretary Austin highlighted that further escalation is not inevitable, and that all countries in the region would benefit from a de-escalation in tensions, including through completing a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. He also stressed that the unprecedented scale of U.S. support for Israel since October 7th should leave Iran, Lebanese Hezbollah, and other Iranian-backed terrorist groups with no doubt about U.S. resolve.
Well, terror group Hezbollah said that airstrike in southern Beirut on Tuesday crossed all of those red lines and effectively violated the unwritten rules of engagement. Hezbollah has vowed to respond over killing of its leader. DD India's Trent Murray has more updates from Beirut.
Well, we know since October of last year, the Lebanon-based Hezbollah and Israel have been trading missiles and rockets, but that fighting was largely concentrated to the south of Lebanon and the north of Israel. Hezbollah is saying that that airstrike here in southern Beirut on Tuesday crossed all of those red lines and effectively violated the unwritten rules of engagement, and they are now vowing to respond. It is the rhetoric from them that has got many people in this city of 2.5 million people nervously waiting and watching this weekend to see what that response may be. We know that many foreign governments, including India's, have been warning their foreign nationals to leave Lebanon while they still can, while there are still commercial flights available. But the trouble is those commercial flights are becoming fewer and fewer by the hour as airlines line up to cancel their services because of safety concerns. We have heard some reports today suggesting that Hezbollah has begun moving its top leadership out of southern Beirut and into other parts of the country, also moving military equipment. The trend lines would certainly suggest that the tensions are being ratcheted up, and it is for that reason that diplomats around the world are working the phone hour by hour, trying to de-escalate this situation, trying to bring down the temperature to avoid a full-scale, all-out war right here in West Asia. Trent Murray for DD India, Beirut.
All right, Israel and Hamas recently resumed tentative indirect talks to try to reach a ceasefire. An Israeli delegation is set to travel to Cairo in the coming days for negotiations to reach a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal, as per Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. The negotiating team for a hostage deal will depart for Cairo on Saturday night or on Sunday. And protesters started fires in Sunderland as violence following Monday's killing of 3 children in northwest England spread to another northern city. The protesters show rage and threw stones at police in riot before overturning vehicles and setting a car next to a police office on fire, which made it difficult for the authorities as British police were out in force across the country and mosques were tightening security. And at least 3 people have reportedly been killed in Nigeria after protests turned violent in the northern part of the country. In response, 3 states have declared a 24-hour curfew to curb further violence. Thousands took to the streets on Thursday across the country, demanding better governance and an end to hunger, among other demands. DD India's correspondent Ajik Mangut reports from Abuja, where police fired several rounds of tear gas to disperse demonstrators.
Protesters in Nigeria's capital Abuja say they are struggling to buy food due to the rising cost of living. They say they've had enough of what they see as bad governance and are demanding change.
The demands are very simple. Nigerians are suffering. What can the government do? And if the government cannot do anything, the government should step aside.
We are tired. We want them to understand that our voice must be heard. We are not slaves. We are not cowards. They should end hunger. They should end insecurity. They should end bad government. They should end poor health care.
Amid a heavy security presence, residents came out carrying placards, one reading, "End bad governance now." The protests have broken out after sharp rises this year in the cost of fuel, transportation, food and overall inflation.
Despite a last-minute attempt by the government to stop demonstrators from coming out, that has not discouraged these ones who have come out to air their grievances and their discontent about the economic hardship that they are currently going through.
Demonstrations had been restricted to the National Stadium by a court order after the government raised concerns the protests could turn violent. Many people, however, defied this order and marched through the streets. Police fired tear gas to disperse the crowd when they attempted to get to the National Assembly. Meanwhile, the northern states of Borno, Kano and Yobe declared a 24-hour curfew to prevent the escalation of violence. Analysts say the government should be cautious in its response, comparing this moment to how former President Muhammadu Buhari responded to protests in 2020.
How you handle this can haunt you in the next election. The NSAS protest, how Buhari handled it, he never got away with it. People still believe that he mishandled that NSAS protest. So government needs to fix that issue of petroleum products affordability and accessibility, as well as fix the exchange rates that are seen to the high devaluation of Nigerian currency. But most importantly, let's reduce the size of government.
Nigeria's government has appealed for more time as it works to address economic challenges. Demonstrations are expected to continue for the next few days, but the police says it has put personnel on red alert to prevent further violence. Ajek Mangut in Abuja, reporting for DD India.
And updates now from South America's Venezuela after opposition presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez failed to present his voting tallies to the Supreme Court of Justice. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro warned him of unavoidable consequences. TSA on Thursday accepted a request by President Nicolas Maduro for all presidential candidates to present their voting tallies as the dispute about last weekend's election results drags on.
If he presents himself at the Supreme Tribunal of Justice and he doesn't present any records, there will be grave legal consequences. But if he goes to the tribunal and presents the mess, that is his webpage, that man Edmundo Gonzalez and the lawyers, political leaders and the political parties, UN un nuevo tempo and the mud cardia that supports him, there will be unavoidable consequences.
Meanwhile, Venezuela's neighboring countries like Brazil, Colombia and Mexico have pushed for President Nicolas Maduro to meet with the opposition candidate in last week's disputed election. The trio of Latin American countries want Maduro and Edmundo Gonzalez to meet without popular opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, who spearheaded the Gonzalez campaign after being barred from holding office. Nations like United States and Argentina have already recognized Gonzalez as the election's winner, whereas Costa Rica, Ecuador, Panama and Uruguay also concluded on Friday that Gonzalez received the most votes. And still to come on DD India News Hour. The U.S. stocks fell amid the release of weak U.S. employment data, which stoked fears of a recession ahead. The United States sprint team sets up new 4x400 meter relay world record at Olympics. And in a closing event of a multi-day tour of several Dutch cities, amphibious cars cruise Amsterdam's canals before emissions ban.
The judgment, which came with a majority, has ruled that states in the country have the power to subclassify scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
This is about poverty, this is about backwardness and empowering the people who are not so empowered. And the leaders are not very considerate about them, then the new leadership will come out from the people who are deprived, is still not getting benefit.
Every state has different castes and different tribes. So central has a state, however the creamy layer and non-creamy layer will differ from state to state.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and on to some business news now. A surprisingly weak U.S. employment data released on Friday has stoked fears of a recession ahead. The data has prompted investors to dump stocks and turn to safe haven bonds. The U.S. stocks fell at close on Friday. The S&P 500 fell 1.84%, while the Nasdaq Composite lost 2.43%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 1.51%. Oil price benchmarks fell by more than $3 per barrel at their session lows. The U.S. dollar index dropped over 1% to its weakest since March. The U.S. employment data has added to concerns the economy is slowing more rapidly than anticipated. The weak jobs data also triggered what is known as the SAM rule, seen by many as a historically accurate recession indicator. And now to all the updates from Paris Olympics 2024. On the day 8 at Paris Olympics, Indian shooter Manu Bhaker is just one step away from achieving a historic milestone as she competes in the women's 25-meter air pistol event at Paris Olympics today. Meanwhile, star boxer Nishan Dev and Indian archers will also be in action on Saturday. Take a look for more.
India might not have been able to add to its medal tally on August 2, but the Indian contingent will be in with a chance to not only add to its medal tally on day 8, but even guarantee itself of a medal. India's two big matches to look forward to on their 8th day in the Summer Games in Paris is definitely India's one of the most promising shooter, Manu Bhaker's women's 25-meter pistol medal round, with the shooter having already clinched 2 medals in the French capital, and the boxing men's welterweight, in which a win will be enough to help Nishan Dev assure another medal for the country. In addition, veteran Indian archer Deepika Kumari will be there in archery women's individual 1/8 elimination round along with the archer Bhajan Kaur. It will also be time to see Indian sailor Vishnu Sarvanan in action as he would compete in men's dinghy event. If we talk about women's section, Netra Kumaran will feature in women's singles event.
Well, the Government of India has ensured a strong support for its athletes at the Paris Olympics. They have deployed 140 carefully selected support staff members. 67 of these staff are stationed within the Games village. The rest are nearby, offering continuous access despite IOC restrictions. DD India's Narayan Singh brings this exclusive report from Paris.
In an unprecedented move, the Government of India has ensured comprehensive support for its athletes at the Paris Olympics. Currently, 140 meticulously selected support staff members are on the ground in Paris, providing round-the-clock assistance. This initiative prioritizes the needs and recommendations of the athletes themselves. The support team is a tailored mix of coaches and medical experts. By involving athletes in the decision-making process, the government has emphasized a truly athlete-centric strategy.
I think players and support staff, coaches ratio is almost the same. So I think I'm really grateful to the government. They have allowed so many support staff, personal coaches. Though we are not some people are not staying in village, but still being with the player, being with your student is that feeling. If you are giving to your students, okay, I am there with you in Paris. That is something really good from the government side.
So the two primary roles of support staff is, support staff in strength and conditioning aspect is, one is to prevent injuries. So the player doesn't have any injuries, so we make them prescribe exercise to them so the injuries are not there. Second one, to enhance the performance. So the performance is based on sports to sports base, where in table tennis right now we focus more on the stability, agility, movement, endurance, strength and power. So that's the role.
Of the 140 support staff, 67 are stationed within the Games village. This group primarily comprises coaches, team doctors, recovery experts, sports scientists and physiotherapists, offering immediate and essential support. The remaining support staff are strategically accommodated outside the Games village. They include additional coaches, strength and conditioning experts, trainers, sparring partner and mental conditioning coaches. This arrangement ensures athletes have continuous access to expertise despite IOC restrictions. The Indian government has booked hotel rooms near the Games village and provided daily passes to the additional support staff. This ensures these experts can access athletes during training sessions.
Government of India's initiative to maintain a robust and diverse team of support staff in Paris marks a significant milestone. By prioritizing the athletes' need and ensuring comprehensive support, the government has laid a solid foundation for continuous success on global stage. This athlete-first approach is a model for future international competition. With camera person Senthil, Narayan Singh, DD India, Paris.
And DD India correspondent Narayan Singh also spoke to Indian archery coach Sanjeeva Singh, who has been a former Olympian, Arjuna and Dronacharya awardee. He spoke on the key improvements of Indian archers in the Olympics. Listen in.
Indian mixed archery team missed the medal by a whisker, but they created history by becoming first time an archery team booking their berth in the semi-finals and playing the bronze medal match. To talk more on this, I am joined by former Olympian, Arjuna awardee and Dronacharya awardee Sanjeeva ji. Sir, a very warm welcome. But we missed the medal by a whisker, but a fantastic performance by our archer. So what was the key highlights of their match?
So if you look at the performance of the Indian team, that was good. And they maintained that performance. If you look at the qualification round, what happened? Men team stood third for the first time. Then women team stood fourth. Mixed team stood fifth. And then if you look at individual performance, Dheeraj was fourth. So we were expecting that based on the performance which they had done in the qualification round, they'll perform very well in the upcoming matches. Obviously, the team matches in the men and the women did not go as per expectations. They did not perform well. But then if you look at the individual performance, then Dheeraj improved. You saw his score against the Chris Peters of Canada. Wonderful performance. They went on to shoot 29-30, 30, then 10-10 in a tiebreaker. Close to the center, he won. So it was bad luck for Dheeraj because Dheeraj was in such a good form. So things are improving. Performance is improving. Yes, we missed the medal, but we should not be disheartened because of that, because the government has done a lot. Let me tell you, we have been working, seen what the government is doing, whether it's the Ministry of Sports, whether it's the Sports Authority of India, whether it's the Association of India. They have worked on all the 5 pillars.
So what about this women's individual events? We can hope a medal from there.
So nobody can say for certain that you're going to win a medal. What is going to happen is your performance should improve. So I'm looking at Bhajan because she has been very steady in the team event also. She was the most steady girl. Therefore, if you look at she has been doing very well in the individual and the team. So I expect that she should perform very well. Deepika, you cannot say, because Deepika is one girl. She has the potential to win the gold also.
As there is a steady progress in the Indian archery. Last time it was quarterfinal. This time our archers are in the semi-finals. So we are hoping that they will definitely go notch higher in coming days. With camera person Senthil, Narayan Singh, DD India, Paris.
Well, in a stunning display of athleticism, the United States shattered the world record during the mixed 4x400 meter relay heats at the Paris Olympics on Friday. The talented 4, consisting of Wayanad Norwood, Shamia Little, Bryce Dedmon and Kaylin Brown, clocked an astonishing time of 3 minutes and 7.41 seconds, leaving behind the previous mark of 3 minutes and 8.80 seconds set by the US team only, where they clinched the world title in Budapest last year. And before we wrap, let's look at the medals tally at Paris Olympics so far. China leads the medal tally with 13 gold, 9 silver and 9 bronze. It is closely followed by France, which has clinched 11 gold, 12 silver and 13 bronze medals so far, while Australia is at the 3rd position with 11 gold, 6 silver and 5 bronze. Meanwhile, India will look forward to adding another medal today. It is currently at 48th position with 3 bronze medals so far. All 3 have come from shooting. And a colourful parade of amphibious vehicles cruised Amsterdam's canals on Thursday evening. In a closing event of a multi-day tour of several Dutch cities, the owners of these unique cars flying flags from all over Europe sailed in Amsterdam waters for the first time, as from 2025 they will no longer be allowed into the city due to new environmental regulation. Take a look. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.